Welcome to Vision Forward's Tech Connect Live, connecting you to the world of assistive technology. And now, here are your hosts, Corey and Luke.
Hello, and welcome back to another exciting installment of Tech Connect Live, where we answer the question, what happens when two people with too much time on their hands get hold of streaming equipment? And you're just about to find out the answer. Thank you for joining us. I just noticed that the camera is horribly lopsided.
Oh,
so apologies.
Maybe producer Jonathan could make us not so. Or how about we all turn lean and we can make it not so lopsided?
Get ready to feel nauseated as the camera moves around of its own accord. It's like being on a ride at Disney, but a lot less fun. Oh, look, we're flying. Yeah. Wait, you're ruining the illusion of the studio, Jonathan. This is not good. Anyway, hope everybody.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning. I hope everybody. Jonathan said, "I'm not sure who set up this camera." The answer is me.
Actually, I started, and then Luke's like, "Maybe I should do that," and I said, "That's probably a pretty good, pretty good call."
I will say Corey did a worse job than me, but then I did a worse job than Jonathan. So we've gone down the line and slowly made improvements.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
We improve. We're improving, and that's all that matters.
Well, I hope everybody's having a lovely day today.
Thursday.
It is indeed Thursday, and yes, we're still here, so that's good.
Wow, you have very low sort of, yeah.
I'm feeling a little out of sorts today, so you'll have to excuse
just
me.
all week or just today?
No, it's just been today. I woke up and just felt a little bit strange. So
did you wake up on the wrong side of the bed?
It could have been that. Was that a joke?
Oh, wrong button. Darn it.
I don't know. Sometimes you're just not quite yourself.
I get it. I understand.
You know, the sun is shining, so that is good, and we are still here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Corey, how are you today?
I'm kind of bummed. I told you the Bucks lost last night.
Oh yeah, and I said, who are the Bucks and why do I care?
They got knocked out of the NBA playoffs.
Yeah.
They lost their fourth game to the Miami Heat.
That is unfortunate.
The Bucks were the best team in the whole entire NBA.
Yep.
The Heat were the 8th best team, and they absolutely schooled us 4-1. It was pretty sad.
8th out of how many?
That's a good question. I don't know how many teams. 28? I'm not sure how many.
It's not like
NBA.
it was a bad team then.
Well, no, I mean, to make the playoffs, you're good.
Yeah.
They were one of the worst in the playoffs. So I mean, once you get to the So, anyways, yeah, that was a big bummer.
God, it sounds like we're on a real downer today.
Yeah.
Hope everybody else is having a better day than
We're here.
That's our new motto.
We're here.
Tech Connect Live. We're here.
We're here.
So anyway, if anybody else is a Bucks fan, please put into the chat how you are feeling about the Bucks losing. And also, just a quick heads up, when you do put stuff in the chat, other people except for us are not able to see it, unfortunately. So if you do want other people to put to know about your comments, then you do need to hit the little box which says who you are sending the message to. From the message, if you just typed out a message, if you're doing this with a screen reader, I believe if you shift tab upwards, then you should get to the combo box that allows you to choose who the message is going to. Corey, does that sound about right to you?
I believe that is correct,
yes,
sir.
So then you could open that with an alt down arrow, or maybe a space would work, and then you can choose from there who you're sending the message to. But by default, only Corey and I see those messages. So if it is a secret message, then you will be okay. But if you do want to share it, then please do. And we do enjoy jokes in the chat, of course. Corey has an excellent joke for you today, all about a panda bear. Corey, can you remember the joke about the panda bear?
I do. Yes, I can recall.
Okay, let's go.
Oh, you want me to do it? Okay, here we go. Since May is coming up, Mother's Day is in May. We got a Mother's Day one. How did the mama panda bear open her Mother's Day card? How did the mama panda bear open her Mother's Day card?
I'm going to guess it was a pair of scissors.
Maybe.
Possibly a blowtorch. Depends on what the gift was, I guess.
I would have said that May smashed it with bamboo.
Yes.
Bamboo, right?
That would work, yeah. Hulk smash.
Hulk smash.
Panda smash. Yeah.
Karate chop if you were Kung Fu Panda. That's another option.
Where is a panda bear's natural home? This isn't a joke. I'm genuinely asking.
Wherever they lay their head. No, it's more Asian countries, right?
That sounds about right.
If I remember,
China?
I don't believe there's wild pandas in the United States.
Jonathan says.
I assume mainland
Jonathan, you don't have your microphone on, I just realized.
Oh.
Yes. Jonathan says, I assume mainland Android. What kind of bear is native to Australia?
That would be a koala bear.
Yes, koala bear, yes.
So anyways, back to the joke. So the answer to how did the mama panda bear open up her Mother's Day card with her bare hands.
Hey! Well done.
Oh, yeah, them all to me.
I feel like we have those set in the wrong order. Every time I go for that, but I end up with the wah, 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 wah. Very good. If anybody else has any jokes related to anything, then please feel free to put them in the chat.
Yeah, bear jokes preferred.
Yes, bear jokes would be good as long as they're not rude. We don't have rude jokes on this show. Yes. Yeah, there you go. That's all.
I was trying to come up with a bare bottom joke.
A bear? Oh yeah.
But I couldn't come up with one.
If anybody has a bare bottom joke,
yeah,
please put it in the chat. So today we are talking about dictation. Now, now we're not actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Do you know why we're not really talking about dictation?
I guess I'm leaving. I came here for. No, why are we not talking about dictation?
Because we are talking about Windows 11.
Yes.
And in Windows 11, they don't call it dictation anymore. They have a whole new name for it.
Is it called Speak and I Will Listen?
Well, that's one way of putting it, yes.
That's not creepy at all. Is it called I'm Always Listening?
That's what it should be called, probably. No, it's called voice typing.
Oh.
Voice typing, yeah.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah, you type with your voice.
Sure.
Yeah, I wonder why they changed it, though. I mean, I feel like people understand what dictation is, but maybe they don't.
Yeah, voice. I don't know. Good question.
Yeah. Anyway, now it's called
Anyone
voice
from Microsoft, I know you're watching, if you could let us know.
Well, according to our last email, we sent our last video, we sent many emails to Bill Gates.
Yes, we did.
Bill.gates@microsoft.com, so hopefully he's watching. But yeah, so now it's called voice typing. So Windows 11, you may have heard of this. It's the latest operating system from Microsoft. You probably have it on your PC if you bought your PC recently, or if you did the updates as Microsoft instructed you to do. And this version of the operating system has voice typing built in. Also, Microsoft Office. Now, I don't know if you need Office 365 or if you can have Office 2019. Was there a newer version of Office?
2021.
2021, thank you. So I think it may be in 2021 on Office 365 also.
Yeah, because I think we have the desktop version of the programs installed. So yeah, it should be fine.
Yes, so also there is dictation available there, or voice typing, or maybe it's called dictation in Office, who knows? Who knows?
Could be something all different too, completely different.
Yeah.
Not typing with your hands. That's what it's called.
I actually kind of prefer that, mate. And then we also have voice access.
Which, used to be called, what, voice control, I think, or
well,
speech?
they had the Windows speech recognition
That was,
app, but they actually still have that. This is just another layer. And now this is actually only available in version 22HN.
Okay.
Windows 11, I might be getting that right, but who knows? Anyway, I'm pretty sure it's the latest major version.
The newest version of voice access.
Newest version of Windows 11, the latest build. That one has voice access, but older versions do not, I believe.
But older versions of Windows 11 and Windows 10 did have a similar feature called speech.
Well, so they had the Windows Speech Recognition app, which is still available in the latest build of Windows 11, but they are quite different, and we'll take a look at why.
Well, I can't wait. I'm excited.
Look at that. From somebody in the chat whose name I cannot see currently. Let's have a look. It looks like it might be Galen, but yes, thank you. From Galen, why? Oh well, I need to read this one first.
That's a good idea. Sometimes we gotta review or preview those jokes before you.
I'm not sure I understand the joke.
Okay. Well, go ahead and ask. So let's find out. Is it appropriate?
I don't know. I don't know.
It may be safe than sorry.
I'm going to give this one a miss for now, but thank you for the joke, Galen. I'm just not 100% sure whether it's appropriate or not. Now, it might be perfectly appropriate. I just don't understand the joke, so that's the problem.
Well, we don't want to get canceled or offended, so we'll be safe.
Although, if you would like to cancel Corey, please do write in to
Bill.Gates@Microsoft. Gmail.com.
Exactly. All right, so now I hope everybody has a Windows 11 computer and can follow along. We're going to jump over here to take a look at our laptop here. And we will start off, I think, by looking at your regular old voice typing. Now, Corey, what is voice typing for those who are unfamiliar?
So voice typing allows you to voice and type.
Good.
No, I'm just kidding. So anytime there is an editable field,
Yes.
so that could be a Word document, and it could be an email message, it could be an edit field on a website. Anytime you can actually input text via the keyboard, you can alternatively use your voice or using voice typing to dictate your text instead of typing it.
Yes, you can. And obviously, it always works perfectly flawlessly.
Always.
And you definitely don't need to learn how to use a keyboard if you're using voice typing. Correct?
Yeah, maybe that's actually something we should jump into really quick before we demo.
Okay.
Is just the talking really quickly about speech or using dictation versus keyboarding.
Okay.
What do you think?
Let's do it.
Okay. I'm just kidding. A lot of we get it very often where people say, "Hey, I'm interested in using the computer. I want to know about dictation. I just want to talk to the computer." And most of the time, what people have in their mind is sort of this unrealistic expectation that they'll just sit down in front of their computer and say, computer, create an email to Jimmy, tell him, hey, how you doing? I'm doing pretty good, send it, and just expecting the computer to sort of do it very casually like that. And they also sort of believe that if I use my voice, I'll never have to interact with the keyboard at all. And although the latter is maybe somewhat true, you definitely need to know what specifically to say in many instances. And there are going to be times potentially where you are going to have to use the keyboard. So what we always recommend is if an individual has the physical, cognitive, if they have the ability to learn how to physically type, become a non-visual touch typist, that is typically going to be your best mode of using the computer. But for those who can't, then voice typing and voice access is a good alternative.
Yes, I would agree with all of that. And I think we'll probably find, we'll see how it does, but although voice or dictation is a lot better now in terms of accuracy, it's still not 100% perfect all the time.
Sure.
So you can end up with strange results. And a lot of that is going to depend on a few different things that people often overlook. So number one, how are we getting our voice into the computer? Now, for this demonstration, I am actually just going to be using the laptop's built-in mic, but that's not really the ideal method. Like generally, we would probably want a headset, noise-canceling microphone, something like that. Number two, how are we talking?
That's the really hard part.
Yeah, so when we talk to each other, we can, do things like put slang in there or not necessarily say things because we can kind of interpret quite a lot of ways of saying things. So we might not necessarily say things in the best manner, or maybe we'll do. Exactly. Or we may have a lot of ums and ahs and things like that. Now, that stuff doesn't necessarily translate so well when it comes across to dictating. So when we're dictating, we have to think about we are speaking as if we're writing, and that's a skill,
Yeah, that's really hard to do. That most people don't type, or most people don't speak the way you type.
No.
There is a disconnect there, and there's also the ensuring that your voice is I don't want to say proper for dictation, but
you need to enunciate well.
Yeah, you do, and like you said, it's definitely gotten better. I especially like working with Siri and things. Sometimes I'm amazed on what it can hear when I work with some clients, but you still have to have pretty clear speech in order to get good, consistent results.
Yes, and another thing would be making sure that you disable the microphone while you are not talking.
Yes,
if you don't do that, then you're liable to be picking up all sorts of noise, and the computer's going to try and translate that into words, and before you know it, you have just this insane piece of text.
Which I think is one of the upsides to the voice typing that Luke's about to demonstrate. That does require you to typically do a keyboard shortcut to begin and end, which is nice, so you don't end up sometimes having kind of gibberish going in there.
Hopefully, that's the goal anyway. So let's take a look at this this voice typing now. I'm going to go ahead and open up a Word document.
And just so everyone knows, for this demonstration, we don't have a screen reader going on right now, so it'll be up on the screen, but Luke will also verbalize what's going in onto the screen so you know. And then we will chat a little bit about voice typing and voice access with a screen reader too.
Okay, so here we go. So we're going to open up the Word here.
The Word has been opened.
All right, so let's do a little bit of voice typing. Now, there is a keyboard shortcut associated, associated with this, as Corey had mentioned. Corey, what is that keyboard shortcut?
Yeah, you asked me that in a video that we just recently released.
Yeah,
and as I said, it was Control, Alt, Windows, Enter, Grav, exclamation point, tilde, open parentheses, the left one.
Yeah, of course.
Right bracket.
Yes.
Left brace.
Good. And you forgot enter. Yeah.
Well, oh, I forgot there's two enters. Yeah. And you have to hit all those keys at the same time.
You do. But what I had said to you in that video, Corey, was you could also try Windows H, because that generally works too.
Yes.
So.
I mean, I feel like you always take the easy way out.
Yeah.
Like you're always like,
I like to do things easily.
You will go somewhere and I'll be like, oh, I'm going to walk there and it'll take, I can get there in 30 miles. And you're like, well, you could just walk in this sidewalk and it's 20 feet. And,
you know, I like doing things easily. I'm lazy. What can I tell you? So let's do some voice typing here. Okay. We're going to try our shortcut Windows H. This is internet-based. The advantage of that is we do not need to train the computer on how our voice sounds. So it should be decent straight out of the gate here. Emphasis on the should. Let's give it a try. Here we go. Windows H. Windows H. Let's try that again. Windows H. Okay. I believe we have a problem here because I have voice access turned on. Let me just turn that off real quick.
Can you make sure that do you have the microphone? I think you need to make sure the microphone and sound card are defaulted to the computer.
Let me just try it real quick here. Hello, can you hear me? Period. There we go. Yeah, that works. Okay, so
it doesn't work with voice access on.
No, you can't have them on at the same time.
Oh, interesting. Well, okay.
Yeah, because voice access can also be used for dictation.
Yeah,
so we don't need them both.
I just find it interesting that it being okay. Well, there you go.
Weird. All right, so we did a Windows H. I dictated "Hello, can you hear me?" Period, and that's exactly what it typed. So that worked pretty well there. Now, I did a Windows H to start the dictation. That enabled the microphone. I heard a little boop noise. That let me know the microphone was engaged. So at this point, it's listening. Now, visually, there is also a control panel. And on the control panel, there is a circular button in the middle, which has a kind of an icon of a microphone in it. That turns blue when the microphone is engaged also. So there is a visual indicator to let you know. Once you've finished dictating, you do need to make sure you turn off that microphone. Otherwise, you are going to be picking up all the background noise.
And if I'm not mistaken, it appears to give you best results if once you're done dictating, if you give it like a 5-second count.
Yes.
And then stop it, right? Yeah. I think it needs time to sort of process what it heard and dump it into the edit field. Because if you kill it, I think we've done it where if you do Windows H too quickly, you end up getting like a bunch of gibberish.
Yeah, that's exactly it. So if you're dictating longer sentences, it's kind of processing that as you're dictating. So you've got to bear in mind that everything that you're saying is being shipped off to the Microsoft servers to be translated and then sent back as text. So that's going to take a little bit of time. So if you are dictating, it's kind of processing. The words are not necessarily all appearing on the screen immediately. And if you turn off the dictation too quickly, then they may never appear. So you're right. It's safe to kind of have 5 seconds of silence or something like that at the end of your dictation before turning off the engine. Let's see if we can get it to do that right now.
Okay.
So I am going to be dictating a longer sentence here, and we will see what happens. At the moment, no text has appeared on the screen, and I'm thinking maybe that's because it's processing. Let's wait and see if anything happens when I stop. Okay, and I stopped and I left a few seconds and all the words appeared at that point.
Now, can you try, I'm just curious, can you try doing another one but not giving it a little bit? Can you just Windows H, say hello, this is a test, and then quickly stop it right away, which is what
We will once again try this and see whether Bill Gates has got this right or not. So far, it is not working how we want it to because it is working too well. But now I see that we can stop it because it is not filling out the sentences anymore. I will press Windows 8 with no gap. Yes. So we got most of it, but we missed just a few words at the end. But it was fairly minimal.
Okay,
yeah.
not bad. But if you would have said something quick like this is a test and ended it, you might not have gotten anything.
Well, it seemed to be picking me up pretty fast that time. Yeah, so I guess it's going to vary depending on the speed it's coming back from the server. Let's try one real quick. This is a test. That didn't work.
Yeah. I mean, we laugh, but your instinct is to be a little more quick like that. Yeah. So it is good to keep that, 3 to 5 second count at the end, just to give it time to process and put it in.
Yeah, it's good practice, I would say, yeah. Now, you can use that Windows H command to stop and start dictation, as I was doing there, but you can also click the little microphone button if you're able to see that, and that will also start and stop.
And Windows H and this voice typing, does that need to be enabled or activated anywhere, or can you just walk up to any Windows 11 computer, hit Windows H, and
off you go.
Voice type.
Yeah, yes. So it depends on how the computer has been set up.
Okay.
So when you first set up Windows 11, there is a bunch of screens you go through that is basically setting up permissions in terms of privacy. Depending on how those have been set up, it may be that dictation will work right out of the gate. If not, when you try to do a Windows H, it will come up with the speech recognition panel, but it will say, hey, you need to turn on a privacy setting here, because basically the things that you are saying are going, as I said, to the Microsoft servers. Now, they do say, we are not listening to this, we are not using this for anything, it's just being processed on this end, but there is some some privacy concern there, and so it may be that you have to enable that. Now, in the speech recognition panel, there is a cogwheel which will take you through to the settings, and I believe you can use that to get to where you need to enable this switch for the privacy stuff. If not, there is a message that comes up that has a link in it that will take you to the settings.
Good.
But yeah, so it's pretty straightforward to get there. You might need to do that.
Okay. And you might have noticed as Luke was dictating or voice typing here, well, we didn't have a screen reader going, but if we did have a screen reader going, we would have heard Windows H as he did those keyboard commands, but we would have not gotten any voice feedback of what was actually inserted into the document. So although voice typing does work with a screen reader in the point that you can do Windows H and you can dictate and you can do a Windows H to stop it, you don't get immediate feedback of what was placed in the document. So you will have to utilize your text navigation keys to actually go and review what was put in there. So that's sort of the downfall to using a screen reader with the free voice typing. If you're somebody who wants and is going to be doing more dictation, then if you want that immediate feedback, which trust me, if you're going to be doing a lot of voice typing, you really do need that instant feedback of what's being inserted. Then really your main option is going to be using Dragon Naturally Speaking, and then coupling that with the with JAWS, and then the bridge of either JSay or JDictate, depending on how much you want to do. If you're looking to just dictate, then JDictate is your solution. If you're looking for full voice access to the computer with Dragon Naturally Speaking, then JSay is going to be your solution.
Yeah, but saying that, I mean, if you do just want to dictate in a Word document and then just, or an email, for example, and then just check it out with your text navigation keys, then I think you could probably do that.
I think this is a great, I always tell people, clients, this is where you start.
Yes, exactly.
Before you go and invest, you know, anywhere close to $1,000, use dictation, use voice typing for free here, and see how it works with your voice. See how you like it. Are you able to talk? You know, so good place to start.
All right, so I'm just going to show here. I'm going to click on the settings option in the voice control, or the in the what's it? Voice typing, thank you. In
Yes.
the voice typing panel. It feels so strange to try and say that. Okay, so we have a few options here in the voice typing settings. It's really pretty straightforward, but there's some useful stuff. So first of all, voice typing launcher. This is a new feature for the Windows 11. And with the voice typing launcher, it will basically default to assuming that you want to dictate inside any text field. Now, obviously, we're in a Word document at the moment, but this Windows H command is system-wide. It will work in any text field. So wherever you want to type in text using your voice, then you can do so with the Windows H. If you don't even want to press Windows H, you can turn on the voice typing launcher, and now whenever you are focused inside an edit box, inside a text field, it will automatically launch the dictation.
Well, here's an interesting question.
Yeah.
If you have that set up,
Yep.
how do you have to do Windows H or click stop then when you're
I
done?
would assume so. Let's give
Yeah.
it a try. I've actually never enabled this feature,
Yeah.
so this is going to be a live demonstration here. So we're going to enable. Now the only trouble is I already have the dictation up here. So let's close our document.
If you come back into Word, will it automatically? Yeah.
Yes, that's what I'm hoping. Actually, it won't. Now it refuses to close the the settings window. Please hold. Let's close the window here. Okay, there we go. All right, so yes, that's fine. Go ahead. Okay, so we're going to try this again. So I will open up Word, and hopefully it will automatically launch the voice typing because it will know that we're in an edit field. Let's try it. And it did. Oh yeah, and it actually looks a little different as well. Isn't that interesting? So the actual control panel for voice typing has changed its appearance from doing that. It's kind of like a minimized version of the panel that we had before. But the weird thing is though, Corey, so here's what it's done. It has launched, but it has not launched with the microphone turned on.
Oh,
Yes.
so really all it's doing is it's just an auto populate of that, an auto launch of the voice typing box.
Yeah, so it brings
Or
up the
bar,
little box.
I apologize.
Yeah. So I guess that's good in a way because now you can just click on the microphone.
Yeah,
icon.
you know, and one thing I didn't test, and maybe we probably don't have time. I'll have to do it quick. I'm curious how if
Yes.
a screen reader can access that voice typing bar at all.
That is a good question. So yeah, from here we could either click on the microphone or we could do a Windows H. But I'm not sure there's a lot of point to doing that. If you know the keyboard shortcut Windows H anyway, then it's really kind of pointless.
Yeah.
So. All right, now the other big thing that they introduced in Windows 11, and this was very handy, is auto-punctuation. Let's go ahead and open up our Word document.
For those that might not be familiar, up until recently, both for iOS and for Windows, you did, whenever you dictated, you had to dictate punctuation. So you had to say, you know, hello, comma, how are you, question mark. Otherwise, you wouldn't get any of those punctuation marks in there, and it would just be a run-on sentence, on and on and on.
Yeah, and that was very common as well for people to kind of fall into that trap. I mean, it still happens a lot with text messaging and things, but it's not so important there necessarily because texts tend to be smaller in length. But when you're talking about documents or emails and stuff, then
those tend to be more professional too versus text. So yeah, you definitely need punctuation in your emails or Word documents.
Yes, you do. So we have automatic punctuation enabled here, and what it should do is be smart enough as we are dictating to automatically add the punctuation, exactly how it sounds. So I'm going to give this a try. Oh, hold on a second. It's really confusing having two keyboards.
I was just going to say you did the wrong.
I just launched dictation on our streaming computer. This is the most confusing setup we've ever had. Okay, here we go. Let's try this again. Hello, I am dictating and it should be automatically punctuating, but of course I will not find out until I have finished dictating. I will ask a question here to see if it puts a question mark in. How much wood can a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? And I don't know how we could get an exclamation mark. Maybe if I say wow in a specific tone of voice, it will know what I'm trying to do. Thank you very much. Goodbye. Okay, so let's see our results now. Again, our little settings window is in the way. Let's see if we can get rid of that. There we go. Okay, so we have hello, period, I am dictating, comma, and it should be automatically punctuating, period. But of course, comma, I will not find out until I have finished dictating, period. I will ask a question here to see if it puts a question mark, comma, how much wood can a woodchuck chuck, question mark?
Oh.
Okay, if a woodchuck could chuck wood, comma, and I don't know how we could get an exclamation mark. Maybe if I say, comma, wow, comma, oh, didn't work. In a specific tone of voice, comma, it will know what I'm trying to do.
So it saw that if a woodchuck could chuck wood as a whatever you call it.
Yeah, it wasn't part of the question. So as we can see here, it is doing a pretty good job of adding that punctuation in. However, because we're leaving it up to the computer, there are going to be times where it's not doing what we want. So for example, we would have put the question mark after if a woodchuck could chuck wood, and we would have put an exclamation mark after the word wow. However, it didn't do either of those things.
One thing I recommend when using any voice typing is doing it in smaller chunks. I probably, if I was using it, I probably wouldn't have dictated as much as you did. I mean, obviously we were doing it for demo purposes here, but if it's your own, the less you do at a time, the better, I think the better results you're gonna get, but not only the better results, but the less you're gonna have to go back and fix.
Yes.
All at one time.
Also, it's easier to think in shorter sentences as well. So it tends to be, if you're trying to do run-on sentences, you're probably not really dictating very well. So if you just think in terms of chunks of sentences, shorter sentences, you'll probably do better. I'm curious, we're going to try this exclamation mark again. I've never managed to get it to do an exclamation mark.
Why don't if you just do wow?
That's what I'm going to try.
Yeah.
Here we go. Wow, that's amazing. The computer wasn't impressed, it just did a period.
I love that you try to do it with your voice to make it like, bang!
Wow! Yeah, so there we go. It can be hard to get some of those. I will say, so for me, this is my opinion. Automatic punctuation is a wonderful tool if you are the type of person who doesn't want to, or not doesn't want to, but maybe forgets to punctuate, or it feels unnatural. Because it's weird, right, saying the punctuation.
It is very weird, although I will also say it's nice if you're not great with comma usage.
That's true.
Usually most people are pretty good with period, exclamation point, question mark.
Yes.
But commas can kind of be confusing. So I think if you could just even get in the habit of ending your sentence with the correct punctuation, but allowing auto punctuation to take care of the rest.
That's not
I do think you're going to have, it's going to improve your overall, I don't want to say overall typing, but your
grammar?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I will say, if you want to have a, how am I going to phrase this? If it's more of a professional document or email, you're probably going to want more control over how you punctuate, at which point then you're going to have to say the punctuation yourself to make sure you get exactly what you want. So let's just give that a try real quick just to demonstrate. People are probably already familiar with this, but basically as we say punctuation, it should add that specific punctuation in for us. So I will give it a try. Wow, exclamation mark. That's amazing, exclamation mark. I think this is the best thing I have ever seen, comma. Do you, question mark?
No.
That's not very nice, period. Only can we do a left parentheses? Is this being put in a left parentheses, right parentheses? Okay, there we go. So we got some good ones there. We got, instead of wow, we got how, exclamation mark.
That's a great question.
That's amazing, exclamation mark. And then we got, I think this is the best thing I have ever seen, comma, do you, question mark? No, comma. And then we got a what can we do, and then we did get a proper left parentheses. Is this being put in a left parentheses, right parentheses? So yes.
Okay, so it does the parentheses.
Parentheses. It's very hard to say parentheses. That's a problem.
Parenthesize?
But yeah, it does a really good job. Now, I think you'll agree, if you are familiar with Windows 7 typing, voice typing solutions, which would be the Windows 7 speech recognition app, this is a lot better than that. Because with the Windows 7 speech recognition app, that was actually housed on the computer rather than being an online thing, and it required the computer to learn the sound of your voice, and that took a significant amount of time. So when you first started using it, it was really bad.
Sure.
Now it did get better as it built up your voice profile, but yes, it wasn't the greatest. So this is a big improvement on that. So if you have been thinking about dictating but having trouble in the past, and you have Windows 10 or 11, because this is available on 10 or 11, this Windows H. If you have Windows 10 or 11, then it's definitely worth giving it another shot. Windows 11 has the auto punctuation. I don't know if they updated that for Windows 10 or not.
I don't think so, but I'm not sure.
So that might be just a Windows 11 specific feature. feature. But all in all, this is really cool. Now, we were going to put it through its paces a little bit, just doing some more unusual stuff, and I would still like to do that. So
jump into Edge, maybe?
Yeah, I think I'll go into Edge real quick here. So we're going to open up an internet browser. No, wait, I did it on the wrong computer again.
This is here, so I'm going to slide that over by me, and then you can't.
That's actually a good idea. Here we go. You can have that keyboard. Okay. So, yes, we're in Microsoft Edge. This is our web browser. Now we're going to try and dictate a web address here, because those are obviously a little bit strange in terms of the formatting. So we'll start off with a major company. Ever heard of Google, Corey?
I have heard of the Google.
Yeah, apparently they're big in techie circles.
California?
In California, yeah. So we're going to try going to the Googly website, and that will be www.google.com. Now, we don't have to say the www, but we're going to do it just to test out our voice typing feature.
Just to be early 2000s?
Yeah, hey, why not? Blast from the past. All right, so here we go. www.google.com. And despite the fact that I said www in the weirdest possible way, it's like I couldn't pronounce my W's for a second there, it still actually did a great job there. So it typed it in. Let's go to Googly here. And here we are. So now we're going to try another web address, something a little less common.
Let me try one.
Yes, please do. So let me get up to...
you think it's hyphen or dash?
I think you can try dash. Why not?
Let's try.
Because that's how you'd naturally say it.
Yeah.
Right, go.
vision-forward.org.
I forgot to start dictation.
I was actually going to stop and go, I didn't hear the beep, but then I trusted you.
Okay,
you totally did that on purpose.
I didn't. It was good though. All right, here we go.
Vision-forward.org.
So it wrote vision space dash forward, as in it wrote dash.
Okay.
.org.
Let's try one more time.
Yes, we'll try it with a hyphen maybe this time.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. I think the proper.
Yes, okay. Proper terminology. Here we go.
Vision-forward.org.
We have good news and bad news, Corey.
Okay.
We got, instead of vision, we got the word in, then a space. We did get a hyphen, then a space, and then forward.org, and then a period.
Okay, good. Good.
That's good, is it? Okay, good.
Yeah, that's the exact site I want, that was the exact site I wanted to go to.
That's perfect. So as you can see, the dictation for web addresses may or may not work depending on what web address you're trying to put in. So it seems like maybe some of the larger ones, it works okay.
It is, and I think here's the other issue too, is when you start to use multiple words, it's going to want to put a space in. It doesn't know that we're doing a URL versus just dictating.
Yeah.
You know.
Let's try cheese.com. That's one of my favorite websites. Here we go. Cheese.com. That works perfectly.
Yeah, I think as soon as you try to add more than one, and I'm guessing what you probably need to do would be like VISION-FORWARD.
Well, let's give it a try. So we'll try doing a one letter at a time and seeing how that works. Here we go. VISION-FORWARD.ORG. And we still got a space in between vision and... Oh, I just messed it up now. We still got a space in between the vision and the forward and the hyphen. So it's still not going to work.
Let me try one more.
Okay, we're going to do this one more time. Nope, not ready. Go.
www.vision-forward.org.
That was almost it, Corey.
Because I think
maybe the www helps.
I think it then sees the format that it's a web address. That was my thought.
Now the only trouble is it wrote the word hyphen instead of doing a hyphen. I'm wondering whether we need to say dash at this point.
All right,
I'm going to try this. Here we go.
All right, last time.
I'm going to try this. www.vision-forward.org. It didn't do the dash. Did it not hear the dash? Did it?
They also say minus sign as a legitimate one to
minus sign. Okay, let's give it a try. www.vision-forward.org.
That's natural.
It just typed in minus sign.
Yeah.
All right, let's try one more time here. Come on. You want to do it, Corey?
What are you doing?
I want to try just saying dash again, just in case it didn't hear me saying
I'm ready.
it before.
www.vision-forward.org.
It just ignores the dash every time. Okay. We'll try hyphen one more time. This will be the last time. Ready?
www.vision-forward.org/it's time to move on.
Yeah, so it again wrote hyphen, and it did the /, but then it said it's time to move on with spaces in between, which will not work, sadly. So anyway, I think we get the point here.
There's probably some, I bet you someone in the chat is like, if you would say URL first, it would know that it's...
Yes, exactly. There may be a workaround. If anybody knows the workaround, then please let us know. Now, very quickly, we'll jump over to Outlook here, because that's where we go to send emails.
Oh, that is.
And emails are also strange beasts.
You're going to have very similar results in when you're in the to field. Not always. I think we had, I think it does depend on the email address.
Let's not speculate. Let's find out.
Right.
We are a fact-driven show. We only deal in facts. So let's find out. Here we go. bill.gates@microsoft.com. It just wrote bill.gates. Now, here's the thing. So it didn't do the dot. It just wrote bill.gates. Now, here's the thing, though. That has worked before, that specific email address.
I think you did that with Windows 8, with the Office dictation.
Okay, interesting.
Which were...
bill.gates@microsoft.com. Okay, so it did the wrong thing again. Now, that's a good segue that we can use to transition into Office dictation. So Office has its own dictation as well. I don't want to spend too much time on this because we need to get to voice access. But basically, it's the same as the dictation we've been looking at already, but it has a different shortcut, and it's specific to Microsoft Office. Now, it is also internet-based, so you will need an internet connection.
Okay.
The shortcut for operating the dictation in Office is Windows tilde. Corey, where would one find the tilde key?
That is going to be to the left of the number 1 key, below the escape key, above the tab key.
You amaze me more and more every day. That's exactly where it is. So let's try a Windows tilde, and again, we'll try and dictate our email address. Because this is dictation in Outlook specifically, because we're in Outlook at the moment, this is the Office dictation, then maybe it will work. So let's give it a try. Alt tilde. Wait, did I say Windows tilde or Alt tilde?
You said Windows.
I think it's Alt tilde. I apologize.
I believe you're right.
All right, so let's do an Alt tilde. bill.gates@microsoft.com. It worked.
And just like with the Windows 8, you hit it to start dictation, and then you hit it to when you're done. I actually like the sound better as well.
Yeah, so
it's a little bit more cheery.
If anybody wants to, record a song and include that sound and send it to Corey,
so the Billy one worked. Let me try one more.
Okay.
Ready? Yep. Corey@vision-forward.org.
Oops.
Didn't like that.
Yeah. So for some reason, when I disabled the dictation, I also lost the email. But I will say that I saw that it did not work because it did a hyphen. It wrote the word hyphen.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's try it one more time. Let's do a dash though.
Okay.
Why not? Here we go. Oh wait, I'm not in the to field. Disaster. Let's try this again.
It's not going anywhere.
All right.
Who's dictating?
You are dictating.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Here we go.
Corey@vision-forward.org.
Corey, you could have not enunciated that better, and it did it perfectly.
Good.
Well, it almost did it perfectly. It was spelled your name with an E, and I'm not sure how you do anything
that's
about
not.
that.
But that was, the other issue though is if you try something like, that's not really my email, but if you did C Ballard,
Yes.
that might give it a hard time.
Well, let's try something.
Okay, I'm ready. Here we go.
Go.
C Ballard@vision-forward.org.
And it said C space ballad space at space vision-forward.org.
Oh, well, there you go.
So your results may vary. Now, this is available in Word. It's available in Excel. I don't really know why you'd use it there so much, but it's there. It's available in Outlook. So if you have Office 2021 or Office 365, then you have dictation. Alt tilde is the key command, or you can go up to the ribbons and find dictation there.
I would really love to know, and I don't think we have an answer to this, but I'd love to know why. Like, why would you choose one or the other?
I mean, you would assume it's using the same dictation engine for both, but we saw there that for emailing,
it did do a better job.
Yeah. So I guess it's maybe it does make sense to use the application-specific one.
Put it in the chat if you're using one or the other, and I'd just be curious if somebody has any reason why they choose one.
All right, so that's basically covered dictation. Now I want to get on to voice access here. And voice access is the new Windows speech recognition app. Now the traditional Windows speech recognition app is still available. That is an offline dictation program that sucks and you shouldn't use it. But voice access is a new version of that doesn't suck, and maybe you should use it. I had assumed it was internet-based as the dictation is because it's too good not to be. But I read today on the Microsoft website it's not actually internet-based, and so if you're not connected to the internet, you should still be able to use voice access. And voice access does two things. It controls the computer.
It does.
And it allows for dictation.
It does.
So you could just use voice access instead of any of the other dictation options that we've looked at if you want to do, even if you just want to do dictation. But it also allows us to control the computer. We can do many exciting things, including saying specific words for specific actions in specific programs.
Yeah, so at some point I want you to do a demo.
Yes.
Go through the whole demo.
Yes.
And then we're going to see if we can figure out what you did.
Done. All right, and just before we do that, we can also say the word press and then a key or a combination of keys, and the computer will virtually press those keys.
Okay.
Yes. So those are the main ways in which I believe that we would be using the voice control aspect. So here we go.
Do it. Buckle up.
Buckle up, everybody. It's going to get crazy.
Well, now, one of the nice things about voice access, where you might potentially lean towards this, is that you can use your voice to have it begin and stop listening versus having to use a keyboard command. So even if you wanted it just for the dictation piece, that might be kind of
That's a great point, yeah. Now, we can access voice access by pressing the Windows key and typing in voice access and then pressing enter. And what you'll get if it's the first time we've done it is a tutorial. Now, we're not going to show the tutorial here. We don't have time, but the tutorial will basically walk you through some commands that you can give. So it gives you some ideas about how can I click on different buttons, how can I select different things, and so on and so forth. So it gives you a bit of a starter. With voice access on, there's a bar at the top of the screen. Now, I should be able to say a wake phrase here and get voice access to wake up. I'm going to try and do that and then do a few steps, and then we'll see if Corey can follow along here. So, voice access, wake up. Voice access, wake up. Open Microsoft Edge. www.cheese.com. Enter. Page down. Page down. Click Gouda. Click Brie. Click something. Page up. Click Sweet Cheese Roundup. Page down. Select all. Press Ctrl-C. Open Microsoft Word. Enter. Enter. Paste. Select all. Press Ctrl-X. Stop listening. That didn't work. Hey, there we go. Okay. It's quite a few steps there, Corey.
It was.
What do you think happened?
So first you opened up Microsoft Edge.
I did.
Then you were in the address bar, so you dictated cheese.com, www.cheese.com. Then you paged down a couple times so that you could scroll through the page.
Indeed.
Then you tried to click on Gouda, and then on Brie, but those didn't work.
Nope,
and then you
failed.
said, please click on something. And then you scrolled back up with the page up.
Yep.
Then you clicked on the cheese roundup.
Yes.
Sweet cheese roundup. Yeah. And then you scrolled down. Then you copied all the text from that website.
Indeed.
Then you pressed a key combination of Control-C, which I'm going to get back to in a moment.
Okay.
Then you opened up Word.
Yes.
Then you hit enter on the blank document template because
Yes.
Backstage View is still turned on this version.
Indeed it is.
And then you did paste.
Yes.
And just a side note really quick.
Yes.
That worked.
Yes.
And in the original you said Control C, which
Well,
I
that's
bet
because
you
I wanted
could
to vary it up a little bit.
I know. I bet you could have just said copy.
just said copy,
And
yes.
I like that you did both.
Yep.
And then you selected, so you pasted it and
Yes.
it worked.
Yeah.
Then you selected all again,
Yeah.
and then you cut it for
I
some reason,
did.
and that was the end of your demonstration.
Let's try this, shall we? Voice access wake up. I'm just going to click it. Undo. Undo. For some reason it can't undo. I wonder if it's because I turned it off before.
Maybe it doesn't remember. Well, no, because it shouldn't matter.
I think I know why. Voice access wake up. Okay, we'll do it like this instead.
Control Z.
Undo. Undo. Undo.
Maybe 4 times.
It's working. Undo. 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 There we go. What was it going to do?
I'm going to guess you were going to undo if we based it off of what was going on. Yeah.
Let me stop that.
Do again? Do again?
That's actually a strange thing with how undo works with this voice access. So it doesn't undo in the same way as it would if you were using the keyboard.
Yeah.
It actually undoes in more discrete steps. So if you have like...
Does it undo the actual voice command you gave?
No, well, let's say that you undid... Let's say that you selected something and then deleted it and then voice typed, hello, I am Luke.
Yeah.
If you do undo, it won't undo all of hello, I am Luke. You have to do it a number of times before you get back to where you were.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. So one thing I'd like you to demonstrate, and you probably were going to do this here in a moment, but one thing that didn't pop up during your demonstration here is the quadrant.
Ooh.
The numbering.
Yes.
So maybe we could show that and we can chat a bit about that as well.
Yes, before we do that, real quick, I do want to show the press commands as well, so we will do that quick. Corey, I believe we have something in the QA here. Excuse me, I'm just going to
Please.
lean over. We'll give that a click here.
Lean back.
What if you can't see what you want to select? Yes, this is the eternal problem, and we're going to talk about this a little bit more. Thank you for the question there.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think in this example, you said click Gouda, click sweet cheese,
Yes.
roundup. You're right. If you're a screen reader user or low vision to the point where you can't see what's on the screen, then you're going to need to be relying on a screen reader. And in that case, what you'd have to be doing is saying like press down, press down arrow and move line by line until you land on the link that you want.
You would be actually giving screen reader commands, but using your voice. So I'm actually going to demonstrate that a little bit now, so we can see. So if I say press before anything, then it will just basically press the key that I'm telling it to press. So let's give that a quick try here. Press down arrow. Of course, it just typed press down arrows.
What are you in?
I'm in Word. It's because it picked up some other words first. Here we go. Silence. Press down arrow. Press down arrow. Press enter. Press Alt Tab. Press G. Press O. Press O. Press D. Press Home. Press Control Home. All right, and we'll stop it there. So each time I said press, it was then pressing the specific key or keys which I told it to press.
And remember, if you were using a screen reader, especially online, saying press H is going to move you by heading, press B for button. So you can use some of those keyboard element shortcuts that you're used to. You would just be saying press and then the letter in order to move by those increments.
Indeed you would. So Corey, you had set me a challenge and I've already forgotten what it was.
I want the numbers to pop up.
Thank you, yes. So let's take a look at the grid. This is where it becomes very visual. So we can move our mouse to any position on the screen using a grid, and we can also make selections using numbers. And they're both very visual and not super accessible. Let's look at the grid first. Let's say I want to move the mouse over to the bold button. Now I don't need to do that that because I could actually just use the voice command bold. But let's just say, as an example, I wanted to move the mouse there. We can bring up the mouse grid and then tell the computer where we want to move the mouse to by giving numbers. So I'm going to say show grid 1, 5, 7, 4, click. And I didn't even manage to get the B button because it's so small that I couldn't quite get the mouse into the right position.
Yeah.
But people hopefully got the idea there. We brought up a grid, and the grid starts off large, but each time we issue a number, it moves the mouse in smaller and smaller increments, so we can zero in on what we're trying to find and click with the mouse. Now, the other thing is if we are trying to select from a number of different options, it will bring up a numbered list or show numbers on the screen, and we have to choose from them. Let's see if we can do it here. So I'm going to type the word cheese a few different times. Okay, so now if I say the command select cheese, it should ask me which one I'm trying to select. Let's give it a try. Select cheese. 2. And so what happened there was numbers appeared next to all the instances of cheese that I typed, and I had to say the specific number that I wanted it to select.
Now, I haven't tested it yet with a screen reader, but I'm pretty confident that that's not accessible. It's not going to number it. And even if it does,
how do you know which number?
How do you know which? Yeah, even if it said 1 cheese, 2 cheese, 3 cheese, 4.
5 G's, 6 G's, 7 G's more.
We would never know which cheese is the cheese we wanted to cheese.
Yeah, I mean, any cheese is the cheese that you want to cheese.
That is,
I understand your point.
That is true.
So, so yeah, I mean, there's definitely visual elements to this which are going to be difficult for people with low vision and for people who are blind as well. But if you just want to do some basic stuff like open a program maybe and then dictate some stuff and then maybe save, you know, and stuff like that, I think that's probably going to be feasible just by issuing some commands. So some of the finer details may not be feasible, but yes, there are things you can do.
And as we said earlier too, when we said if you were interested in dictation, starting with the voice typing, same with if you're interested in maybe controlling your voice more. With a screen reader, this is a good way to start.
Yeah, definitely.
And again, if it's something you decide that's very helpful for you, then looking to Dragon Naturally Speaking and JSay is a great way. But this is a free way to at least get your hands on and see if it works.
I believe we have something in the YouTube. Jonathan, would you care to tell us?
Yeah, so we have a bit of a discussion going on.
Okay.
You can hear me, right?
Maybe, yes, I'm not sure.
So we have a bit of a discussion going on in the YouTube about the built-in Apple dictation programs and or, you know, Siri, and whether or not iOS is falling behind in this case, or are there use cases where that just makes more sense, like don't bother, it is for specific instances. What are your both thoughts on Apple versus iOS, or iOS versus Microsoft in terms of their dictation?
Well, I think it's, first of all, I think, you know, iOS versus Microsoft are two, you know, you're talking mobile device versus computer. So I think,
but they do have Mac with voice.
No, that's what I was just going to say. Yeah, so I think a better comparison would be the Mac's dictation and voice control versus Windows, just because it's a little bit equal thing. Now, I haven't, I mean, I've used them both, and I think they work just fine. Yeah, the voice control on iOS is pretty good too, but
yeah, no, they have. Yeah, so I know they have voice control and dictation on iOS, but I haven't used it too much because we're both mostly Windows people over here, and obviously they have Siri as well. I would hesitate to say which one is best because I don't have enough experience on the Apple side. I will say on the Microsoft side, you do run into little glitches every now and again where with the voice access, for example, it just won't turn on, or it just won't listen to what you're saying, or the dictation will just stop working or whatever. So there is definitely some issues there. I don't know if you run into those same issues on the Apple side.
You know,
too.
I think we're always looking for new Tech Connect Live topics.
Yeah.
We do have a Mac. I think it would be, it wouldn't be our next session because we'd want a little time, but I think it would be great. Let's plan to do an upcoming session on dictation and voice control on the Mac side.
All right.
And just see how it goes.
Now, there we go. So you heard it here first. That will be in the future.
You heard it. Where else would you hear it?
Well, that's a good question. That's a good question. Corey will be presenting that one. I'm just going to sit back and put my legs up. And, we will see what the Apple side looks like. Do we have an Apple computer, Corey?
We do. We have your old MacBook.
No, that's right. Awesome. Yeah. And luckily, even though the screen doesn't work, if we plug it into a separate screen.
Oh, I forgot. Maybe
we should be able to get it
Maybe
going.
that's an excuse to buy a new one.
Oh, I like it. All right. So that's the end of today's session anyway. I hope that was somewhat useful. And if you do have a computer with Windows 10 or 11, then you can investigate some of this stuff. Windows 10, Windows H will work for the dictation there, or the voice typing. And if you also have Office on your Windows 10 computer and it's 2021 or 365, then you should have the dictation feature. And also, if you have Windows 11, then you'll have everything that we saw today, as long as you have the latest build. So if you have updates to do, make sure you do those updates. But this stuff is all pretty straightforward to use and also pretty good for the most part.
Yeah.
So why don't you try it out if you have any interest. We will be back in another 2 weeks' time. Hopefully, the weather will have improved a little bit.
Yeah.
At that point, it has got a little bit chilly here again. And our next topic will be, anybody?
Well, we replaced today's with the Snow 12 and Compact 10
right.
Extravaganza, so that might be coming up.
Yes.
Unless we change our mind and
Again,
something
yes.
better comes up.
Well, we will definitely send out an email, but it may be on the Snow 12 and Compact 10. Those are two handheld electronic magnification devices. Both of them have OCR built in. Both of them do things in a little different way. They both also have a full-page OCR, actually, so you can do an 8.5 by 11. Both do it in a slightly different way, so we may take a look at those two and compare them. But if we think of a different topic that we might prefer, then we will do that instead. We will send out an email, so keep your eyes peeled on the emails. Make sure that you check those out as we send them through. And we will look forward to seeing you in 2 weeks' time. Goodbye for now. See you then.
Thanks for joining us for another Tech Connect Live. If you enjoyed Corey and Luke's antics, be sure to join us next time. For all things Tech Connect, go to vision-forward.org/techconnect.